Tonight we're going to talk about a few of the sort of more cutting edge or pressing issues. Everything we work on is pressing. These are some of the ones that have bubbled up recently. We really want to highlight for folks so that folks have a chance to hear about the work and what we're working on and what we'll be working on over the foreseeable future. So with me tonight, Theo Cuison, who is our director of our immigration program, Sharon Jamal, who runs our consumer justice program, and Teresa Zen, who's in our debt-free justice and clean slate program. And I hope that all of you join me in conversation. I may start us off with a few questions and then eventually open it to everyone. But I'd love to start tonight with immigration. Theo, it's on everyone's mind sort of what's been going on since the election, but in the last 6 months, can you give folks a flavor of what's happened and where you see things going in the next 12, 24 months?
Yes. So thank you, Frank, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. So where to start with all the changes? So I think it's best to go by kind of thematic changes. So one very big change is there's a systematic assault on due process rights for our clients and for the community that we serve. And that comes in the form of immigration judges being called upon to decide 700 cases per year, which means sometimes that someone who's been waiting 3 or 4 years to present their case suddenly has to share a slot with somebody who has also been waiting for as long. There are moves to undermine judicial independence. So there are moves underway that started from Attorney General Sessions to make it so that people who are fleeing domestic violence aren't able to apply for asylum. Another thing that we kind of expect to continue happening is upending years of established practice. So one thing is in the asylum office previously, people would have interviews scheduled in the order that the application was received. And so now that has been turned around. So 20 years of practice has been turned around, and people now have to be prepared to present their case within 2 to 3 weeks. So for private practitioners, it's hard, and for a clinical program and a nonprofit, community-facing nonprofit, that's even harder, because then that means that we as advocates need to be prepared within 2 weeks to tell the story of someone who went through a lot of deep and terrible trauma, and like the worst possible thing that ever happened to them. And then there are also moves to terrorize the immigrant community through constant change. One of them is through telling people that you no longer can apply for public benefits when we have a lot of clients who are from mixed status families where you have children who are United States citizens who it's in their full right to receive Medi-Cal, to receive food stamps, to receive CalWORKs. And so every kind of small change like that ripples through the community, and it means that we as advocates have to meet with people one-on-one to kind of allay their fears and dispel some of the misconceptions that are happening in the news.
Yeah, I'd love to follow up a little bit about the meeting folks where they are and talk about what the immigration unit has done to try to address the how and where of delivery of legal services in the face of this assault.
Yes, yeah. So we noticed quite early on that people were afraid to go to events where they didn't already have a partner involved. So I'm glad that we have the school-based health center initiative where we are on campus at the Oakland Unified School District at 11 different campuses. And we are there in part because people trust their medical providers, and having us there with them and the medical provider then saying, you can trust this person, engenders a level of trust where people are more forthcoming and we're able to hear their stories in a way that helps their legal case. And so in addition to that, we also have the undocumented student program at UC Berkeley. So students of all undergrads, graduate students are able to access services either on campus or through meeting us at our office. And so we like to say in the immigration unit that we practice in partnership with other entities. So be it through the undocumented student program, through health providers, we've noticed that it definitely has made a difference in the way that we represent our clients.
And I'm curious about the move that you're bringing about in the immigration practice to sort of marry those two or to connect those two.
Yes, yeah. So my absolute dream is to be able to provide legal services from the point someone enters into kindergarten through their time in college or through graduate school. So we have the two pieces in the beginning done with the school-based health center program, and then we have the UC Berkeley piece. But kind of in the middle is a whole population that we're not yet reaching. So we're working towards being able to do outreach at community colleges, which is an important bridge to UC Berkeley, and to also go to Cal State schools as well.
Fabulous. Immigration law is a matter of federal law, but states, the impact of state criminal law can have a big impact on someone's ability to get remedies and reliefs, certain remedies under immigration law. I'd love to talk a bit about what EBCLC is doing between our Clean Slate program and our immigration program to address some of that.
Yes, so we received funding from the California Department of Social Services to start a pilot program where we're working in conjunction with UC Irvine's immigration clinic and also the Immigrant Legal Resource Center to start a program where we can do training for law students to be able to take on cases that are at the intersection of criminal law and immigration law. So we have a dedicated paralegal to be able to help us with those types of cases, and we're reaching a bigger population because we have the capacity now to be able to do that and to actually really take advantage of the legislative fixes that have happened at the state level. Because you can legislate as much as you want to, but if you don't actually have people on the ground carrying out the vision of the legislators, then it kind of doesn't have the effect that they were hoping to have.
It is one of the areas, though, where a state like California can make state-based laws that will impact how folks are treated within the immigration system. And so do you foresee sort of continuing both state action and also sort of an increase in the ability of immigration lawyers in California to use those clean slate remedies to help their clients?
That's definitely, I think it's the forefront because the Trump administration is pushing back on some of the state fixes that we have here in California. So I do foresee us potentially getting into some tussles with the federal administration related to some of the laws that we have in California.
Last question, and then we'll switch over to consumer. I'm curious about some of the work that the immigration practice has done around creating a pipeline for attorneys, for non-attorney staff to get an opportunity to be a part of this work.
Yes, yeah. So we're very lucky to be able to host work-study students who come from UC Berkeley. And so some of our work-study students carry on with us during the summer. A lot of our work-study students are first-generation members to go to college. And they're not necessarily interested in doing just legal assistance. They're also interested in being involved in public health and potentially being social workers. And it's great because we do have a social worker on staff to be able to kind of channel those interests in our students. And so I myself am a product of EBCLC's summer program. It'll be 10 years this summer since I was a law student in the health and welfare unit. And so for me, I take that as a very personal matter to be able to allow further folks to be able to enter the work that we do, because we can't do it alone. And I think that's where EBCLC can provide a lot of value in terms of being able to increase the pipeline of people who are entering the work that we do.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you very much, Theo.